Alrighty. Hello and welcome to another episode of the TF Cast.
Today with us, we have singer-songwriter, musician, Dave Sandersfeld. Tell us a little bit about what's going on, Dave.
Just trying to survive like everybody else through everything that's been going on. A big part of that has been writing music.
Yeah. You were telling us you got something coming up, some recording, another single.
Yes. The band is getting in the studio here in 2 days. I don't know when this will be released, but in 2 days. We're getting in the studio to start tracking a brand new single, and I'm really excited about it.
Is this one song or is it like a single?
It's one song.
Okay.
To be released as a single. Hopefully we'll do some music videos or something like that to really help push it along. But yeah, we'll
Right on.
blow up just the one single. It'll be my first single. Usually I do. So I've done 2 EPs in the past. So this is my first time. I'm just gonna put it all on this one song right now.
I see. You had a very recent EP. I think it was 2020 even.
Yeah. So I released an EP in May of 2020.
Okay.
It was arguably the worst time to release an album, but at the same time, it was good because what's the alternative? You're just gonna like sit on it forever, and then like by the time you release it, you'll be like sick of them yourself or something, So I think it was weird timing, but it was good. I still got we got a lot of great reviews out of it and everything. The only thing that really kind of sucked was just that we couldn't tour or play really around and much. We had 1 gig after that album dropped. So yeah, but
Rough.
Did you have like an album tour like queued up for that one too? That all got canceled or?
We had definitely had shows and festivals kind of lined up. But yeah, a lot of them, all of them.
Yeah, 2020
are gone. Yeah, that's just
the
how
trend.
it went.
They just completely nuked.
Well, so yeah, I mean, I gotta take a little bit of time to focus on just the promotional side of it though, which was good because sometimes it's an all-inclusive thing, this music thing, and as artists I think we forget about that side of it, and that's like a really important side of it, and it's a hard side of it. So I gotta kind of focus on working with like a publicist and trying to get some articles out there and stuff, and kind of substitute the fact that we weren't really playing around.
Yeah,
so that was good.
That's true. If you haven't actually checked out Dave's website, your EPK is really slick.
Oh, thanks.
I've read like I've gotten a lot of things where people send me stuff, but like this was the first time where I think every bit of information I could have wanted was just in one very long, glossy EPK.
Thanks, man.
I haven't seen too many like that.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed looking through that, and it was a good way to kind of get to know some of your music before going through this, because I've heard you play live, but I hadn't like seen any of the videos or like listened to like the full EP before getting into that, which was a good experience.
Cool.
What was your recording process like for the EP?
So the recording process for the EP and the one I released in 2017 have been pretty much kind of the same. I mean, it usually starts with me kind of, writing songs and shelving songs and being like, oh, I think I want to take this one to the next level type thing. And, you get together with the band and they all kind of help make it what it is. And we kind of get to a happy place with it. And then I tend to, so I got like a home studio set up. So I tend to, I track out the demos, and then I'll send them to my drummer, and he has like an electric kit at home, like a fancy electric kit, so he can kind of throw down drums to it in a matter of minutes, and then he'll throw it back, and then we kind of start getting ideas that way of being like, oh, we should change this, or we like this, or whatever, and then the practice helps to bring that along too. But then, kind of long story short, then I go into the studio in Northeast Minneapolis called the Hideaway. It's a really beautiful spot. It's just a gorgeous place. I go through an engineer. At least the last couple times have been through a guy named Brady Moen, and he's just great at what he does. So we go in there, and usually we throw down drums and bass, and then we come back and do guitars, and then we come back and do vocals, and then you start the editing, mixing, and mastering process.
Awesome. I was going to ask a little bit about the writing too. So the band is obviously under your name.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a collaborative writing process, or is it all you?
I hate to be that guy. It's like, it's all me. No, the band. So when I was in the cities, I was in a band called The Reckless, and it was me and 3 other dudes, and we wrote songs together. Me and the guitar player were mainly the ones that actually like wrote the songs. But then the band always, brings in their ideas. My drummer's, he's really, really good at like understanding, I think, like song, like production and mechanics and like how things should flow and stuff. So like his input on things is always like, oh, like I can't believe I didn't think about that. So like we all do it. But that band in the cities was kind of at that time where like they were like my drummer had to leave for a while because he was like getting married and had a kid, and things kind of just started to change. And I was like, I think I knew the whole like Dave Sandersfeld thing was coming for a while because I just had put so much work into it by myself the way it was. So I just kind of figured, I was like, why not just branch off, and then hopefully people will come with me and follow. And the funny thing is kind of, I'm honestly playing with the same guys right now, just under my name. Like we all just kind of came back. We're just playing music. So we've been doing it a long time. But I mean, yeah, generally it's like, it is kind of my show in a sense. Like I do write the songs and bring them to the band, but they have the feedback or the like, we should change this, or you should think about changing this, or you should not write so crappy or something like that, and we'll go from there. And it's great. I think that they really love it, and I appreciate that they do, and they're awesome. I got really lucky in that way. So,
yeah. I think good creative projects need creative leads. So there's no shame there at all. How do you write? Like, are you? I get a sense from listening to some of your songs that you're kind of like a vocals first type of guy, or like.
No, I mean, well, yeah. I mean, that's a good assessment. I think my comfortable place is I sit somewhere with a guitar and I strum something where I try to find like some sort of melody where like I'm like, oh, I like that chord progression. Oh, that sounds beautiful together. Like, or it sounds a lot like this artist I'm really influenced by right now. I should ride with this. And I try to like kind of hum or just mumble some nonsense or something until something kind of formulates, whether that's a verse or a chorus, it kind of depends. It's whatever. But yeah, I kind of just piece it together. But I think you're kind of right. I think like my history, like a long time ago, I was more in like some like heavier rock groups, and I would like look for the riffs and things. And I think nowadays a lot of it is more like I'm looking for that melody and what I want to say, and then like the guitar and everything and all the instruments kind of follow to help add that bed. But I don't know, it's always changing. I feel like I'm getting better as a songwriter the older I get in general. So it's kind of always changing. Yeah.
What's the put together the whole band for me real quick? You got you doing lead guitar, vocals.
Yep.
And then
yep. So I'm doing guitar. Well, I would mainly call it rhythm, I guess, and vocals. I do play lead guitar as well, but my guitar player is named Scott Berman. He's just a fantastic guitar player. So he does a lot of the lead stuff, the stuff that's floating over the song, and then solos if there is one or whatever. I have Adam Couch on bass, and then right now it's Jason Whirl on drums. The last EP was a guy named Mike Fromm. He's based out of Minneapolis. So Jason has just been. He was the first person I started playing music with in the 9th grade. So me and him have just been talking and doing music forever. So it's kind of nice in that way too, where I was going through this different drummer, and then he actually had a kid with his wife, and then he had to step out for a while, and then so I just call up, Jason, and was like, hey man, can you come in and do? And it just kind of all works out like that. But right now, that's the main group. So.
9th grade. That seems like a good amount of time. Is that when did you start with music in general?
Yeah, so I picked up a guitar. Do you guys know Jake Willard in town? Yeah. So I picked up a guitar in like the summer after 8th grade, and it was probably largely because of him, because I would go to his place, and his brother Josh would have basses and guitars and drum sets all set up, and that was kind of when I started playing, the Smoke on the Water and the Smells Like Teen Spirit or whatever.
Yeah.
And then 9th grade is when it really kind of I was like I want to do this and start really learning and improving. So that was like probably 2002. So yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, we did a little thing with Lodi a while back. So we had some opportunity to interact with Jake, but
yeah.
Wow. What did you have any projects that were prior to? I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name of the band that you.
The Reckless.
The Reckless.
Yeah. So before the Reckless, I did Dirty Rain, which was a Mankato-based band with Paul Collier and Nate Rosso. And then before that, it was kind of, before that, it was just kind of the high school band. So kind of those 4 stepping stones mainly. But I've been in and out of some random side projects and stuff like that. Yeah.
When did you know that you wanted to take music more seriously? Like, what made the jump from enjoying it to wanting to be a band and front a band and do it?
I think a lot of it just has to do with that teenage angst thing. Like, you just get in high school and you're like trying to figure out who you are and how you identify as a person. And like music and at the time it was grunge, so it was like, for me, like Nirvana and Soundgarden and Alice in Chains and those 90s groups. Like when I was in high school, that's what it was for me. And I was reading like Cobain's journal and stuff, and that was like, I was like, this is awesome. And I love like the story behind it and like the culture of it, and like those Seattle groups were so cool and crazy to me. Like they lived in studio apartments together to make music in Seattle. Like that's so cool. And I just like fell in love with like that idea and like the idea of being a creator. And I was a pretty hardcore rollerblader back then. So I was like at the skate park, and I was a rollerblader. And I got hurt a lot. Like 2 front teeth chipped, and like, like everything just, you'd get hurt. It was part of it. I loved that too. That was my first love, really. But just like, picking up the guitar and playing Dave Gilmour solos or whatever, like quickly made me be like, oh, I can do this and not get hurt, and I love this, and this is amazing. So I think that was kind of part of it in the transition, and yeah, I just kind of never left since. So yeah,
that's funny. A less painful way of
being creative. Exactly.
Self-expression.
Exactly.
Do you still skate at all?
No, I'd like to, but I'm afraid. Well, I put them on every once in a while, and I can still do I'll do a 540 on flat ground. I'll do it right now. But like,
you should have filmed that instead of the music.
Should we just go and let's do that. But I think my brain hasn't left that space, so I'd be too afraid to if I went to the skate park, I'd be like, I can do all this stuff still.
No, Willis, you have to tell this story. Tell the story of the guy at the skate park.
The guy who broke his arm?
Yeah.
And I have a skateboard?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was like that. It was the guy who used to skate, and he's been not doing it for a long time. And he got out there and he was feeling good, and he broke his arm. And then he left. I drove him to the hospital. And he left his board in my car, and then I bought it from him because he was not going to go.
He was like,
skating.
I'm done.
Yeah, it was like day 1 though.
Yeah, it was his first day back out there.
Oh man,
that's just got it. I just wish he would have got a good weekend first. Like just a little time to relive the glory days. That's
just
gotta
instantly
just be crushing.
Well, that makes me feel better about why I don't strap him on and go to the skate park.
Well, I used to rollerblade a little bit. You sound far more skilled than I. I think I could do like a little 180 on the half pipe.
Oh, nice.
But I've picked up skateboarding, which I was afraid to do or something. I'd probably fallen when I was a kid, and so I got back into it more recently and learned how to drop in, and I can do about the little half turn on the half pipe. But it's been fun. I'm coming at it from a very different place. Low bar for success.
Yeah.
Trying to keep my teeth and arms in check.
Yeah, well, props to that. I think skateboarding is kind of terrifying.
It's wild.
Terrifying.
Dude, trying to keep that stick on your feet.
Yeah. I mean, people say rollerblading is easier, and we don't need to go down this rabbit hole of skating all of a sudden. But
I don't know. It's fine.
Do you snowboard or ski or anything?
No, I kind of wish I got into those. I've snowboarded like 3 or 4 times, whatever. I pick up on it kind of quick, but I think I would be better with like snowblades or something, obviously. But yeah, and I was going to say, like, people think that rollerblading is easier because it's attached to your feet, but that's not necessarily the case either, because if it's attached to your feet, if you go down, you're going down. Skateboarding, at least you can jump off, but the other side of that is that, doing tricks and everything in general is probably pretty terrifying on a skateboard. Well,
I think that's where it's like a learning curve thing, and I think it's almost flipped for snowboarding and skiing too. So I guess for skating and skateboarding, it would be that it's easier to skate but maybe harder to do tricks. Actually, I don't think that's true either. They're
all hard and respectful. If you can do any of them, any of them, that's great.
I'm terrified of all of them. Like I didn't start any of those things until I basically met Willis, and I can push around a skateboard a little bit now, and it's scary. I think I knew music was safe before I hurt myself.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, we almost caught a nice video of you face planting into the grass on the longboard. This last summer, 2020.
Yeah.
We all had to find something to do.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And for you, it was writing some songs here.
Yeah, and actually, I feel like I wrote quite a bit, which is good for me because I'm a perfectionist. I need to make myself just write crappy songs more. Like, but like I'm really like. I wait for those ones to come because those are the best, right? The ones that just come and you're like, yeah, I just wrote this in like 2 seconds. It's amazing. But we don't know is you have like 20 other ones that like took you forever to like kind of think about and be like, I don't know. But so I'm kind of, that's like the one, one thing I'm grateful for, I guess, in the last year is I think I wrote like my original mission here was going to be to go towards like an acoustic album, like. And by that, I just mean like really stripped down. It doesn't necessarily just mean an acoustic, but just a little more like really stripped down kind of like out there, but personal, like acoustic thing. And I might still be working towards that. But, I wrote I feel like I had like 15, 20 demos or something over the last year. And then I wrote this recent one, really quick. And it was, all right, guys, we're getting in the studio. Let's go. So I don't know, but I'm glad I got a good amount of writing in. Can always get more.
Right on.
Can always make yourself do more. That's the tough thing with singing and songwriting.
Well, what do you do when you're feeling like a little bit dry on the writing end?
I play disc golf.
Disc golf.
A lot of disc golf. I love disc golf. My mind just goes it's out the window when I play disc golf. So those are the 2 things I do the most of. But but yeah, I mean, there's days where you'll be like, I should write a song. I want to write a song, obviously. So you sit with a guitar and then you just, you regurgitate the same types of chords and things and whatever. And then, it can get frustrating sometimes. So, I mean, I like to think that I just push through and write something anyway. And if it's, and that at least right there was progress.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I'll just put it down and go throw plastic in the forest.
Yeah, I mean, that was the fastest and most enthusiastic answer to that question I've ever received. Normally people take a minute and ponder. You just knew.
I've got the process kind of down a little bit.
Yeah.
Land of Memories. Is that where you...
I play a lot of Land of Memories,
Cool spot.
Yeah.
Awful, but I try on occasion. It's fun.
Oh, it's great. Once you get good at it, you'll love it. I feel like we're doing all these different promotions for different types of things besides music. Go rollerblade and skateboard and disc golf.
Sometimes it is about like
it's balance,
the other
though.
things.
It's balance though. You gotta find other things that bring you joy, because if you focus on, you end up beating yourself up quite a bit if you just focus on that one thing that's maybe not coming at the moment you want it to or something, So that's, I guess, the reason for my fast answer.
Yeah. I was trying to write some music a while back and got into cooking, and it was like, you got something to do that kind of frees your mind up to imagine it's like the shower thoughts, the things you think of in the shower or whatever.
It unblocks whatever's in there, and hopefully you get to spew out some new stuff. eventually.
I feel like I've had moments too where I feel like I have creative energy, but it's just like blocked, and there's just some task or something that's in the way. And once I figure out what that is through no good process, it can come forward or whatever it needs to be.
Maybe you got to take up disc golf or
I mean, I think just in general, not forcing things to happen sometimes is bad. I mean, I don't know, go sit and stare at a lake or something for a couple hours. But
that I can get down with.
Yeah, there you go.
So you played us a couple of songs before podcast here. It was World on Fire and Just Like Home, and then
Can't Get You Off My Mind.
Can't Get You Off My Mind. Tell us a little bit about those ones, and just what's up.
Sure. World on Fire was the first single I released on Somewhere in the Dark, that May 2020 album, May 17th. And that song also features Laura Schultz, the Goodnight Gold Dust, singing backups on that.
Nice.
That song's kind of about what we were just talking about. That was a good segue. Because it's kind of about like going easy on yourself and, I guess knowing that every once in a while you get things right. I mean, really, in a nutshell, that's kind of the simplest, I guess, description of the song. We all die trying, but sometimes in your life you get it right. That type of thing. It's just like we all experience these difficult things. So sometimes you'll get them right, and that's life. I don't know. In a simple kind of nutshell way, that's what that is. Just Like Home. Just Like Home is really new, and I think I like it a lot. I wanted to change direction slightly, and I think I'm always trying to change direction slightly. But like, I wanted something that wasn't as like. I'm trying to do this thing where it's not as about me. It's not so inward of like, oh, I've been hurt and this is your typical, thing. And like, I hope you can relate to this, which I do, obviously. But like with that song, and World on Fire is a little bit like this too. But with that song, I wanted more of like I wanted feelings of just comfort and home. And I want it to be like, this is like, you make me feel like home. This is home. Like that's kind of what I wanted with that track. It's not like, it's not like I've been hurt or this sucks and like, oh, but I'm dealing with it and I'm changing, like your typical kind of pop song thing. It's just like, I want feelings of home through this, so that's that one.
I really like that one. That one was nice.
Thanks. Yeah, I got to figure out what to do with it still. That's the next step for that one. But
is it figure out whether you want the band on it or whether
it's kind of. It's one of those songs where like I wrote it specifically kind of that acoustic way, and that was going to be one of the tracks that like I was going to put towards that idea. And then I sent it to the engineer, and he was like, yeah, it's really cool. We could maybe shorten it up and do some different stuff. And then I was talking to my drummer about it, and he's like, yeah, let me throw down some drums, and then all of a sudden you go down that rabbit hole, and then you're kind of like, is this right? Like, is this what I want to do with it? And so it's like, that's kind of the part I'm figuring out with that track in general, because part of me is so used to it being like a really stripped down thing, like maybe have some strings over it or something. I don't know. We'll see. But the band did jam it for the first time a couple weeks ago, and that sounded kind of cool in its own way too. Maybe we'll do both. I don't know. We'll see.
And the third one was a surprise, right? You hadn't planned on playing that, but it just struck you?
Yeah, I wasn't going to play that one. I was going to play a different one off of the first record, which kind of would have made sense. But Can't Get You Off My Mind is one that's just stayed with me and the band actually for a long time. I wrote that song in like 2013, and it was like one of the first songs to kind of, I think, jumpstart that band that we played in The Reckless back in 2013. It was kind of a bluesy, fun, jammy track. But I hear a lot of people say that it's one of their favorites and stuff. So I don't know, it just kind of popped in my brain. I was like, I don't want to change guitars right now. I'll just throw this out. So, and it's a fun one. I always have fun playing it.
That's cool. And you, we've talked a bit about the band, and not the band, with a couple of the songs being a little bit more stripped down. You mentioned a gig too that you've got, one of the few and only, maybe.
Right.
Is that a full band gig, or would that be more of a?
It will be, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm starting usually I start the year booking like at the end of the year before, but since it's obviously with COVID-19 and everything, it's like it's all so in the air, and so many, venues don't know what they're doing, and festivals don't really know what they're doing and stuff. So I'm working on getting some gigs on the books for us. But right now, July 15th in Mankato, we'll be doing the Music in the Park series that they did last year for the Taylor Library. At least that's on the books now. It could change. I hope it doesn't. But whatever the thing is. But as of right now, we're planning July 15th to get down there. So hopefully we'll get more gigs before that. Get this single out and do some fun stuff with that. So,
what's the experience been like? Dealing with that, like. It has to be a completely different feel going back to talk to all these venues and these old relationships that you have to book. Like what's it feel like?
Well, it's interesting because there was gigs I've turned down because I was worried about being, I don't know, a word I shouldn't say on the podcast probably. I was just worried about being a dick or whatever, because I'm like, okay, well, I want to play shows. My band wants to play shows, but am I responsible for the people that go to these shows? So it was kind of like, I think I turned down like 2 or 3 gigs just because of that. We were just like, well, I just had to be like, we're just not playing right now because we don't know. I don't want to be that guy that's on Facebook being like, hey guys, come out to this show. Like, we need you out here. Let's do this or whatever, or doing, whatever, and promoting to something that could be potentially kind of dangerous. So, I mean, the outside thing is different. I think like when we did July 15th, I mean, I think COVID was probably pretty rampant at that point, but like it was outside, it was distanced, like people were really good about that. So I didn't feel terrible about that, but like these indoor venues have been really tough. And then in general, with just like emailing like the promoters that I know, I've gotten some, kind of typical responses right now, which is just like, yeah, we'll keep you in mind. We don't know what we're doing right now. And so it's weird.
I'm really kind of curious to see like what comes around, or like especially with camping festivals and stuff like that. Like I know that that particular group wants to kind of hit the ground running. And it, like, if there's going to be any changes to the format, or if they're going to like spread things out or whatever, because there's certainly other things that could be done, but whether or not, I mean, it's like a tested business model. So.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Plus, like this, I don't think this live streaming thing is going anywhere, which I think is good. I think it's going to be a good thing, but it's going to be interesting because now I think people are going to have the option to just stay at home anyway. Even after COVID, I think that it's going to be like, oh, we found this new technology that everybody is using and everybody likes. So it's like, what's that going to look like? I think that's kind of exciting though at the same time, because if you can figure out ways to potentially, charge for, like, let's say you have a show at, bar A or whatever, and then you can figure out a way to actually like live stream it and put it on Zoom or Facebook or whatever. Like maybe there's some sort of way you can incorporate that.
You can call Triple Falls. They could do that for you.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting for the musician though, because it's going to be like, is it going to be harder to get people out if you offer that, or is it going to be just better all around because now you have options?
Or will the bar let you?
Or will the bar let you?
Well, yeah. Is the bar going to, give you whatever your payment is, and then be like, well, you can still catch it here,
Yeah.
I do agree. I think because you hear this about office spaces and like work culture.
Yeah.
Like people are not going to go back and do that bullshit.
No.
Like we did it. We were just as productive for a year, and we know we don't need to go there every day, and I can wear pajamas.
Yeah.
But
and they're not losing any money on the space. They're still working. Like, so it's weird.
But I think that musicians will, continue to do a lot of those things moving forward, and just there will be a whole lot more, digital media. The thing is, and maybe some of your perspective will be valuable here too, is, I mean, typically the artist has gotten a really bad cut on the digital media, and
Yeah.
you need to go out and play the shows because you make the most money on merch and tickets.
Yep.
So like, I don't know if you foresee any changes or ideas.
I hope so. I did see a new idea that I investigated a little. I have very little understanding of, but I agree. Yeah, the streaming service thing sucks. It's like we're at this point where, like, as a musician, you have to have them. You have to be on them for the most, especially an independent musician. You know, you have to be on them. But yeah, I mean, you get next fractions of pennies. It's tough. So I don't know what the solution is there. I hope there is one eventually one day. I mean, it's tough. It's really tough. The one thing I saw recently was called what are they called? I can't remember. I literally just looked this up like 2 days ago. I saw it. It's like basically it's a Bitcoin's version of NFT.
Oh no, we talked about this on the last podcast. I was waiting for it. I don't know a lot, but
I looked it up and I'm curious about it. Like it sounds cool because it's a unique way to get music out. The problem I have with it is like you still are going to run into that issue of like that's going to be for like your personal diehard fans. In my mind anyway. I could be wrong, but that'd be like the same thing as me just cutting a vinyl record and selling it to you or whatever. Like, cause you know what I'm saying? Am I wrong here? You shaking your head?
Kind of. You can bake stipulations into them. Like you can have, if they're transferable, you can have some of the cash come back to you if it's sold again, and you can put stipulations on the sale. So you can make something that's more reliable. Like it's better than giving someone a voucher or some kind of thing, but a lot of it is kind of the other thing.
And that's great, but I guess the one thing I'm thinking about with it is like, at least with like Spotify or whatever, you can reach people that you would never reach, right? That they're like, at least they listen to the song. Where with these NFTs, you still gotta be a salesman. You gotta find the person and be like, hey, you should buy this NFT, which you barely even know what that means, and you just download it, and it's a very special token just for you. I think it's a great idea. Don't get me wrong. It's just the same thing as like personalizing your merch or something. Yeah. But I guess I just don't know enough information about it to.
I think it's a cool space. I don't know a ton either, but I think it'll be a good sidecar for people. I guess one of the biggest assets I see to a medium, small musician would be that they could offer something like merch that their local fans are maybe just as interested in as they might be interested in their hat or their album. And that thing has the capacity to be like more of an investment in the band than just like some t-shirt that gets old. So
right.
I think we'll see a lot of changes in that too. Like there's been some pretty like clickbaity and scammy NFT ideas going around, and I do think that they're going to stick around and turn into something that people use. I've thought about it a little bit, like how a lot of bands sell cassette tapes with their download codes, like knowing that the cassette tape is literally a piece of garbage that most people are not even capable of listening to, and it's not even a good quality cassette. Right. But people like the widget. They like having something, and like and it provides some level of value in that way.
Maybe that's what I should have done instead of CDs this last time, because I got CD. I love CDs. I like having the CD just in that way. I like being like, I made an album. I have this. This is awesome. And it's gonna be tough to part with that idea, but at the same time, it's a dying thing, I think, and not a lot of people are looking for CDs necessarily. I don't know. There's definitely like, I think about this all the time. My wheels are always turning with that. It's like, what's the next, like, how can you get it out there in this different way? Wasn't there a rapper that did, he had this app that you could mix the music yourself with. I thought that was really cool.
I did not see that. That's cool.
Yeah. So like you can if you have this app, you can just go in and mix his tracks. Like you can mix the track that you want to mix. I was like, that's really cool. I don't know how many people would be interested in necessarily doing that. Like your average person, but I don't know. I'm always trying to think about like, what's a cool way to get that out there?
Well, that's part of the issue. Like the average person is just going to go on Spotify or Apple Music, and that's great. Like as an average consumer of music, in a lot of ways, I love that I can go check out any album start to finish and just enjoy it that way. But it doesn't really translate to the artist getting what they deserve from it, probably.
Yeah, it's tough.
Or really do great for them, I don't think. I was talking to you about this. I have a playlist that I made, and it was just a bunch of songs that I've been listening to, and then I dig on all these local artists all the time, and I put some of their songs on there too, and I just shuffled the thing, and none of them ever came up. Like it just like not like, you know, it was, you know, they're going against songs that have, you know, many thousands or, you know, hundreds of thousands of plays, and it's just like they very rarely, if never, show up on a playlist.
They weren't like on the algorithm for it. They're like, it doesn't even matter. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough out there.
Yeah. Well,
but I mean, what can you do? That's I think that goes full circle back to kind of what I was talking about with, like, I realized on this last EP how awesome promotion is and paying a publicist, somebody that's good at what they do with that. I'm not saying it's like answers, you know, all your prayers. It's still really difficult, but like it helped me a lot. That was a really good path for me, and I think I'll continue to do that, because it's tough being like, we're already the musician, we're already the, you know, we write the songs, we practice with the band, we you know, we get into the studio and we, you know, spend the money and we do all this stuff, and by the time you're ready to release, 9 times out of 10, at least me, I've always just gone, it's out there, yeah, okay, sweet. I got like $200 to like promote on Facebook, like cool, like, which is great, but like, I never really, this last time around, I was like, I should actually pursue a publicist that can get write-ups and like get it at least out there a little bit. So I don't know. That's definitely...
There was a good number of those. I mean, on the EPK, which everyone should go check out. There's a bunch
Not
of...
the music, just the EPK.
Big plug for this EPK.
No,
people are going to know where to go.
There. You can hit play, right? You have a Spotify widget in there where people can play. They'll be listening the whole time. But there's like 8 or 9 articles in there. Like did you notice a return on those articles when they dropped?
Yeah, well, a couple things. One, the reason that EPK looks so good is because my publicist was like, you need to do this before I even, like, I need this from you. And I was like, well, I already got a website. Isn't that like what an EPK is? Like, I feel like there's such a weird thing with that. But, you know, I'm like, the website literally says everything I'm going to put into a 1-page EPK. So I was like, a little pushback there. But I was like, okay, yep, you're right. I'll send you the EPK. Like, here we go. So, like, it was very like, this is exactly what I need. You got to do this. You got to do this. So I spent some time on it. So I appreciate that you like the EPK. The articles like are great for a lot of reasons. Like, yes, you're reaching people that are, you know, seeing these articles that are in different communities. They're different. You know, you're reaching people you wouldn't otherwise reach unless you maybe went on tour in those areas or something like that. So any kind of write up or publication, I in my mind, is a good thing, no matter how big or small the blog is. Like, yeah, I wasn't on Rolling Stone, but like, you know, if a publication on Instagram or Facebook with like a couple thousand followers writes an article about you and tweets it or whatever it is, that's just, it's gonna help. Like, if you're asking specifically if I've noticed like views going up and stuff like that, like, you know, when they come out, yeah, you notice a little bit of that too. One of the best aspects for me about it is that it gives me a reason to keep talking about it. Where, like, you know, before where it's like, if I didn't do that and I like released a music video or something like that, you know, you have that like one push where you're like, here it is, everybody, woohoo. And then like it becomes kind of redundant when you're like every other day, like, did you see this? You know, like, hey guys, I released that video last week, like, check it out. Where like if somebody is writing an article about it, I can kind of I feel better about constantly putting it in people's faces, because I'm kind of weird about that too. I feel weird when I do that, but at least with like an article, it's like, oh, hey, this is a new thing. This is a new article. Somebody wrote this about the music. That's awesome. Like, check it out. And I think it's just like an easier way for me to try to like get a little bit of momentum rather than just like me posting about me. Yeah. Over and over again.
That stuff's and they quiet that stuff. I know that this is true, because like if I do a share on a Triple Falls thing, it like, but But if someone else shares it, like literally 150 people will see that share. But if you know, if a page owner does it, it's a completely different thing.
Yeah, that's a whole nother animal.
That's what I always say to people. Like, if you wanna support a musician or an artist or whatever, like sharing their stuff is one of the biggest things you can do. Like the difference between 2 shares and 7 shares is sometimes thousands of eyes. Like it's so huge.
It's really huge.
And
really
it's free.
Huge. Yeah. Yeah. And if you really like them, you can purchase their music online. That also helps. But yes, that's really huge. That's why I wait every time I post. I'm like, share if you care. Like, you know, I mean, hoping somebody will. So yes, it's a good thing.
I guess just do nothing if you don't.
Yeah, I guess just if you Facebook's another. It's tough. It's all tough. It's also tough.
Yeah,
you got to get a team behind you. It's what I started to realize. It comes down to networking and getting, like we were talking about before, and getting a team. Like if you had full on management and publicists and all that stuff, things would probably be a little bit easier for you. But we can't always do that because it costs money and we're independent musicians. So we got to figure out other ways we can. But
it's like the studio thing. You know, now you can have a laptop and have a $500,000 studio all just ready to go, but that doesn't make you good at using it.
Yeah.
You have to the specific knowledge required for all those little pieces to be your own publicist, your own advertiser, your own mixer, engineer.
I took 2 years of audio production. I like to think I'm pretty good at it, and I still go to the studio. And I mean, I do that for a couple different reasons. I mean, I'd like to get to the point where I'm probably going to release some music that I totally produce myself, just because it'll be like the acoustic thing, for example. I'll feel a little bit better about like just being like, I can mix this and do this. But for the most part, I love having another set of ears. I like having a guy that's you know, or girl that does it professionally, that, you know, I trust and I like, you know, respect. And then I like getting into the studio too. It's kind of a different world. Like, you're there to do something, and I like that a lot. So I don't know, but yeah, I get what you're saying totally. You can everybody can do it.
You could
there's no right or wrong. That's the beauty about music. At the same time, there's no right or wrong. You can do, nobody's telling you can't do anything one way, you know. Didn't Sublime record in bathrooms or something? You know, I mean, like, who knows? Bon Iver or whatever, that record was in his cabin with the SM57s, you know.
Yeah, I think one of the other things that, I don't know if it's a hindrance or a help, but like in the digital landscape, I often feel like there's this kind of like specter of fast fame. It's just like you can get picked up on TikTok and get 1 million views, or like you can have something go viral. And I think people like wait for that sometimes, instead of like building the community that they connect with right there. Right. Because it could happen to anyone, and it is seemingly random. Yeah. You know?
I feel that. I think with John Mayer at Berkeley or something said it's all about defining your expectations. And I think like when I heard that, I like took that to heart quite a bit, especially the older I get. Like, just because you're not TikTok famous doesn't mean you're not an artist. Like, it's you do have to kind of define your expectations with it. Like, if your expectations are to get insanely TikTok famous in the next week or whatever it is, I mean, it might be a little bit harder.
Reevaluate.
Might be a little bit harder than, you know, headlining the local festival or something like that. So you do have to kind of like, I think I'm always trying to think about that too. And I think a lot of the time, in my personal experience, the baby steps have always ended up getting me just further along. Yeah, where I want to be.
I mean, it could be the other thing. You could end up at the front line of your local festival if you just happen to go viral enough. And
I mean, obviously going viral would be awesome. Yeah, if you can do it, do it.
But I just don't think it is. It's like this. It's this random kind of thing. It's whatever the culture in the moment. In the internet,
it's a timing thing too, like big time. Like that guy, the quarantine song, whatever I'm in my house bored or whatever that song is. That guy, like, I read an article that he was like $10 shy of rent or something in Detroit, and he put that song out, and he like paid off his grandma's house or something. Whoa! And it was because of that song. He was in his house, and it was the perfect little quarantine song, and boom, just timing. Yeah. You know.
Well, especially for those platforms like TikTok, where there is that kind of like really fast moving stuff. I mean, for someone who consumes it for an hour, they might watch a couple hundred videos,
yeah. And that's another interesting point too, is when you think about like TikTok or Instagram even or whatever, it's like those are based off of short. Everything's short. Like it's not even a full song. Like that TikTok's like what, 30 seconds? It's like you don't even need a full song almost to like. Yeah. It's just kind of crazy. Like maybe it just goes to show how oversaturated everything is, I guess.
And it's different formats too. Like I think there's songs that translate well to TikTok, where it's like it's a cool sound and it does something that changes and people like the dance things. And then there's certainly music that just couldn't possibly be captured in 15 seconds.
Right.
And so maybe there's a place for everyone, but I think the stuff with like TikTok too, it would be a matter of figuring out how your art mixes well with the format of the platforms and stuff.
Yeah. For sure.
Whether it's you up there dancing with the guitar.
Yeah. I strictly use like TikTok and Instagram for like, I just cut like the music videos and stuff I had and make them shorter, post them. I should make myself do like more things like that. I don't know. Maybe I will. I gotta
explore the possibilities.
Yeah. I'll just dance to my own song with the guitar and I'll get TikTok famous. There we go. Yeah. That's the plan. New plan.
I think I've only seen maybe. I checked out some of your live music videos, but then I saw one that was more of a music video. I think it was like it was a night sky with the lyrics on the bottom. And
yeah. That was World on Fire. That was the first song I played today. That was the music video. That was the official lyric video for that song.
Yeah. Have you done any like of the more like the cinematic music video style thing?
I did. So I have one that was like the full band, like in actually at the Hideaway. It's called Back Again. It was off the first record. It's not really a storyline. It's literally just us playing the song, but with really cool camera and footage, and it looks great. As far as a storyline goes, the last time I did that was with The Reckless. It's a song called Keep It Together that is on YouTube, but I haven't released that myself. But it's something I'd like to do. I'd like to do more of. Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to think with this single, we're going to definitely do a music video because you kind of have to. I don't know what that looks like yet. But
well, the possibilities are infinite.
Yeah.
You could do a dancing TikTok and then have other people submit their dancing TikToks and then just make a collage.
Yeah.
Or NFT it.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe I'll just do something like totally different. My guitar player on that song, that music video I was just talking about, my guitar player at the time, he was like halfway through it. He's like, why don't we stop doing this and let's just go party and we'll have money flying and we'll be like, let's make a hip hop video out of this song that's not at all hip hop. And I was like, that is the dumbest thing I've heard. But actually it was also like, you know what though? Like, who knows how effective that could have been. That could be really, really funny. Like, it's just so weird.
It sounds like it would have at least been fun.
Yeah. I'm too like artistically stubborn to would have been like, yeah, let's do that. I would have been like, no, I'm not doing that. But
no, we're going to be sentimental now.
Yeah. No, people need to feel this in the heartstrings. We're not going to go do that. But I don't know. Who knows? Sometimes that's, sometimes the heartstring, you're trying to appeal to a lot of different people as an artist. So like, I don't know where I was going to go with this. I feel I do feel like sometimes my music can be kind of on the deep side because that's a lot of like what I like. I listen to a lot of singer-songwriters that just make me feel something. So I think I try to kind of do that in my music too. But it's funny because when I think back to like my roots in music, I was a little heavier and jammier and stuff like that. And the band jams a lot live. We're almost totally different band live, I feel like. But sometimes you do question that of like, well, what could I change to maybe appeal to more people? But I don't know. I'm kind of rambling there.
Yeah,
that's my own thoughts.
You should just make what you want to make.
I
think that'll be the best.
And I never like really go into it like, what are other people gonna like? Like I go like I do always approach it of like, this is what I want to do and this is what I love. But you know, it's something to think about sometimes.
Yeah. I was going to take you back to TikTok, but I don't want to do that.
There's not a songwriter out there that's not like maybe slightly insecure about like if you're into metal, for example, or something, and then I'm not going to tell you you're going to like my music. I'm not going to be like, you should listen to this, you're going to like it. Yeah. But like if I were playing to you specifically, like I just was, and I was like, this kid just like, he likes metal music. What is he thinking about me right now? What is he thinking about this? Like, I think that's like something that maybe it's just me. I don't know.
I would lie. I would be like, you're going to love it.
Like, see, but
what's the worst case scenario? He doesn't.
No, but I would rather tell, if that was who you were, I would rather tell you that you're probably not going to like it, and then you listen to it and you like it, rather than to tell you you're going to love it, and then you're like, I don't like this at all. Like I would, you know what I mean?
Am
I wrong
you
here?
want to under promise and over deliver.
Well, I don't know, because the other thing is like baking in like a little bit of like, oh, I don't think you're gonna like it. Like, what does that say about that person necessarily? You know?
Yeah. Well, what it's saying is that if he came up to me and was like, I love hardcore metal. That's all I listen to.
Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna go up to him and be like, "You're gonna love
Here's what
this."
you need.
Yeah, this is what you
different.
need. I would probably be like, "This might not be your thing, but you might find elements of it in there, and you might like it. I hope you do." But
you could be like, "This one was inspired by a heavy metal song."
Yeah, exactly.
See if you can find it.
Yeah,
I guess maybe I wouldn't. I wouldn't have a musical conversation with someone who started off with, I only listen to heavy metal.
Well, let me make a comparison. So to me, it's like, back in the day, I used to want to tell people like, you know, we genres nothing. We're different. We're not. We don't fit into a genre. I used to like want to say that to people, but the problem with that is that people don't relate to that. They don't get it. They're like, oh, okay, so why would I want to come? Like, you want me to come see your band that isn't any particular genre? Like, I think I've found it better to be like, I'm an indie rock singer-songwriter. No. And I think that helps more of people being like, oh, so that's kind of what I'm trying to compare to. I wouldn't go up to you and be like, you're going to love my music if you're into metal. I would rather, be more specific. I think
people feel very comfortable when they can put things into boxes, you know?
Yeah.
It's just easier for them.
Right.
So, yeah, I think you're right.
I agree.
Defining stuff is hard anyway. Like someone listening to music and then being like, yeah, that was like, I like my alt rock.
Well, and another side of that as like the independent songwriter is like, you're going to be puzzled a lot. Like I'm puzzled a lot. Like I make, excuse me, I just burped. I have my artists that I love and I listen to and I strive to be like and I'm influenced by, and then I'll make music and put it out, and then I'll hear somebody be like, oh, it's good, it sounds like this, and they'll name something that I'll be like, really? Like I don't want it to sound like that, or like that's not my influence, or that's not who it is, and that's a really weird thing too that you have to like learn to let go of like, you know, the listener is going to interpret it and put it into whatever box that they want to put it in, and they're going to, and it's just interesting. I don't know, like if you listen to my music on Pandora, every single song that isn't my song is a genre that I don't listen to, or a song that I've been like what is this? Like this is where this is the box I'm lumped in. I don't get it. Like how does that algorithm work? And so it's like I think that's an always like a little bit of a struggle sometimes. Like I want people to like get what I get out of the people I'm influenced by or something. So I want them to like get that, but that's not always what's going to happen.
But you never know. They might be coming up from like a memory or a feeling, like this song makes me feel like when I listen to that song, instead of like, you know, a specific like musical thing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because I feel a lot with singer-songwriters, especially when you're going for that more emotional content. A lot of it has to do with like the personality or like the experiences of that individual, and like relating to it. So
yeah,
it's
100%.
hard. You wouldn't. I feel like sometimes you get into that. You wouldn't want to cover those songs. You would just kind of want to. Like you go into like the blues, like the blues is extremely formulaic, and then people put their story over it.
Yeah,
and that's the thing,
right?
You wouldn't want to just do the same thing over and over again because it's not the thing.
Right.
I don't know. Is that the way? I don't write songs like that. So,
is that the way?
I mean, is that the way that you feel about taking influence from?
I sometimes, I don't know, I feel like I have broad influences. I don't know if everybody would agree, but like I still listen to some like harder stuff or I listen to a lot of singer-songwriters. I like Ryan Adams a lot. I like Ben Howard, like Tom Odell. I've always liked and respected like Mayer, stuff like that. But I also listen to, I don't know, like Radiohead or Kings of Leon or like, whatever, bunch of different stuff. I listen to tons of different music. Queens of the Stone Age or something. Like I'm all over the map. So I don't think I'm necessarily taking any sort of formula. Maybe I'm taking a formula of all of it combined that I've just learned over the years, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, like you're right though. Like blues is very like, if you're a blues artist, you're probably taking a pretty
that's like I was thinking of something like extremely formulaic there, like the 12-bar blues, where it is basically the same thing over and over again, and then you just add your blues to it. Yeah,
and I think because singer-songwriters or indie music in general, there is such a giant pool of that like spans from, takes from different genres. So that's probably why these people might come up to you and be like, "Oh, you sound like this," even though you're like, "Oh, I never thought about that. I never would have imagined." But anyway, whatever, you'll take it. So. It's all good.
Well,
right on. Let's wrap it up. You want to do some plugs for your projects and upcoming releases?
Yeah. Well, if you haven't,
check out the EPK.
I would love it if you checked out the EPK. Yes, actually, I mean, really though, that is a great tool. Check it out because it has everything on it. It has all the music ever released, and it has videos and everything. So check out the EPK. If not, I would love it if you listened to the record I did release last year, Somewhere in the Dark. That is available wherever you get your music. There's some music videos on YouTube and stuff that we talked about. So that would be great. And then stay tuned for the single that we're working on. I don't know how fast I'm going to put it out, but I'm hoping it's going to be pretty quick. I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited about it. And then, I keep your ears to July 15th as of now, and you can find me on Facebook and all that stuff for any upcoming events.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you guys. This was awesome.
We're excited to put out some of those tunes we got, so you can stay tuned for that.
Cool. It'll be on my EPK eventually, I'm sure.
Yes.
Thanks, guys. This is awesome.
Yeah.